Hello and welcome to my Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed Experience Guide, because this game has no easy way of grinding experience because of the fact that there is no level 99 den for us to sit in and slap the enemies to Kingdom Come for. Or at least that's what I would say if it wasn't for the fact that due to using certain aspects of the game's XP systems, you can get a whole 20 levels in a single fight. I'm here to teach you how to do that, as well as roughly how you need to get to it. Beware, this is meant for endgame, and therefore spoilers will be in the video if you haven't already seen the top right of the screen. I apologize if you have been spoiled from that. As you are seeing right now, I am letting the B-roll scroll of the characters in terms of how I have them set up. The only ones that particularly matter are Matthew, who was at the beginning with his power charge, Glimmer with Illusory Bloom and Burning Ballad for a certain buff combination, and then Rex. Rex here, as you can see, is going to be the most important because he will be our primary DPS. In particular, Dual Blast plus Rolling Smash will be important because those two moves have the highest damage ratio, as well as the effect that Rolling Smash providing being particularly fun to use. You'll see. Please note as well that while I do recommend that you have the legendary Doodle Noodles for your food buff that you have here, Chunky Veggie Soup is a perfectly fine alternative because it's just a slightly weaker effect. The effect in particular is Combat Streak EXP+. With information I discovered from a YouTuber named Yggdrasil, video in the description, the way this buff works is it stacks with your amount of enemies killed, similar to Beautiful Crystal. By manipulating that, you result in getting up to 400% bonus XP, which is much better than any sort of other source you get. What you're seeing now is the beginning of the fight. Because of the fact that we're also using the Broken Crystal, it is very imperative that we kill as many enemies as possible. That is why you'll see me running around trying to hit some of these random fog monsters that are chilling out in the corner. This makes Rex already deal a little bit of extra damage, as well as getting the Combat Streak XP bonus started. To max it out, obviously you need to kill 8 enemies, which this boss does spawn some of them himself, which is convenient. However, it is not going to be that big of a deal if you don't get to it. Even in this series you're going to see on screen, I only end up killing 6, plus the boss. Next thing to note is that this strategy is not exclusively developed by me. I found a different person named King X on YouTube who used a very similar strategy for his XP farming. However, there's a few methods here, such as Combat EXP Plus, that he didn't use, hence why I'm making this video. The XP multiplier goes up a lot, trust me. So credit to him as well for pulling up the basic strategies, such as being level 55, etc. It is important, and you'll see why once we start doing the chain attack. Speaking of chain attack, I do recommend you having him launched beforehand if you can. As you can see, I did it right before Enraged. That was just because I didn't want to risk anything going into the second phase. Out of the books that you'll have, I recommend specifically saving Rex's for last. But depending on who you have paired with him will influence your decisions. I'm intentionally aiming for this specific heroic chain involving 1.5x upon completion, because this is going to massively increase the damage multiplier. Over the course of the fight, I managed to get it off, I believe, 3 times, which tones the damage multiplier up from right around 1,000 to about 400 more, which is going to be significant in terms of just the raw output of damage that we get to provide. Beyond that, I am going to be using a combination of Glimmer and Matthew here. Glimmer is going to be a buffer, and Matthew is going to be applying power charge at all times. I gave him specifically the book that has Meliodas effect from base game, which means that every time that they get used, even if they go beyond the 100 XP mark, they will not overcharge it. I know technically that's probably a waste on Glimmer since you can make it so that heroic breakpoint or whatever, but I haven't found that consistent, and I'm not going to bother researching it right now. I'm using A to conclude my first chain attack here because of the fact that A has the amazing book, because it's very rare that you're going to be able to get a natural amazing here, and that'll increase the return on investment from Niall's 1.5x multiplier even more. I'm now using Shulk here, who has a 75% physical defense reduction. Because all of Rex's damage is going to be physical, this is a very big buff that you particularly will want. In combination with his Brooch effect already, this is making his damage already astronomical, since he's ignoring over 100% of the defense that this enemy has. From here, you're going to see that I'm going to start cycling Niall, Glimmer, Matthew, and then Rex. However, you'll also see that in this particular clip, I don't end up succeeding in this particularly well, because I end up messing it up later on, trying to be greedy. That means that while the results you're seeing here are most certainly not optimal, it's obviously still working, and it can most likely be significantly higher. I imagine you can get anywhere between 30 and 40 levels in a single run should you play it perfectly. There is some RNG involved because I don't have it set up optimally, but so be it. You'll see here Nicole has the increases power charge gauge. For those of you who don't recognize it yet, this is Fiona's effect from base game, which there's a reason that Fiona is the best chain attack hero in base game. This basically means that even with Nicole not actually being useful at all in terms of what he does, I'm getting a whole extra free turn out of this and getting power charge applied just for free, which means that I don't have to worry as much about Matthew. After this, it also allows me to get Niall's hits higher. After this is going to be the final cycle, which I end up getting lucky here and getting exactly 200. And because of the fact that it's the final cycle, I'm using Rex at this point. I gave him specifically the chain attack up, but that's also because of the fact that I didn't really have a better place to put this. This is going to make his damage absolutely ridiculous after the initial hits, and now's going to be when it starts mattering. Getting the boss down to half HP before I started chain attack was also deliberate. By letting us just whittle him down a little bit more, it'll make it easier to get to the big damage and, by extension, overkill, as you can see right here. Rex is already doing nearly a quarter of maximum damage that he can physically do, and they will hit damage cap when we do this particular cycle. Because it's reset, you could theoretically go for Niall. I didn't risk it here because I didn't want to overclock. And so I end up just going more or less straight for the combo, I believe. Actually, no, I go for Nicole first, and then I do Matthew into Glimmer into Rex. For Glimmer in particular, I'm trying to keep the attack and crit rate buffs up. And in an ideal world, you would also have her field effect down. She should stay relatively near Rex, which will allow you to get an additional attack hub for Rex. Rex in particular will do massive damage in this next hit he does, due to all of the buffs that we've stacked for him. I also feel obligated to mention that if you happen to not know where some of these items to find are, I will link in particular where they are in the description, as well as the document I'm using, which is most likely not finished, but I'm tracking as much as I physically can in both base and base game and future redeemed here, so that we can try to get as much document as possible. As you can see, we just finished battle here with a max damage hit from Rex at the end, and now I'm level 78 from level 55. That is 23 levels. In my first attempt doing this, I did 21 levels. I imagine that as long as you can get this basic combo in at least 6 hits per, it'll go far. But yeah, that is how you do a massive amount of XP in a single fight. If you need any of the items that I show here on screen, just feel free to check the document below. I will have listed where each of these items can be gotten, unless it is from a chest, of which there is only one item that will be in that case, is in Vermilion Woods. Now you know. Thank you all so much for watching this. I hope that you will get much XP out of this and be able to finally take on the super boss without farming for 40 hours. Because of the fact that the more people we can teach about this, the more fun people will have fighting the super bosses. I bid you the best of luck with that. Bioluminescent Bob sucks, and I'm out. Peace. I might as well let this finish for you guys. Wait, you're still here? Why?